when we talk about, we don't say actually moving beyond the senses. All we say is not to perceive reality only through the five senses. It's almost as a metaphor in spirituality, you awake the sixth sense. That the metaphor to it is the third eye in yoga. Okay, the third eye represents the sixth sense. You're not avoiding the five senses. To be grounded is to use them. They are part of the physical body. I am in the physical body. That's my experience. Why not to enjoy the pictures I see, or the smells I smell, or the things I touch? But it's very clear that when I perceive only through the five senses, reality is not really what it is. So you don't cut it off, but you are expanding the experience beyond the five senses. You still will enjoy a tree, and you will enjoy the taste of strawberry if it's organic. Why not? Okay? But you will see reality beyond the tree and beyond the strawberry. And nobody can describe to you what is it, because it will be what it is. So the nature that we see around, or all physical phenomena that we see around, are just reflection of a small perception that formed by the five senses. I mean, you know that we had a period of time that people thought that the world was flat. This is how the senses actually perceive the world, because people were walking and they're walking straight. So it's flat. If it's round, you should fall. Okay? So, but that wasn't true, but in the same time, it was true for these people. They thought the world is flat, the world was flat. And suddenly we're experiencing something much bigger than this, or wider than this, and suddenly the world is not flat, it's round. We don't even know if the world is round. That's what we perceive right now. So you can enjoy all of it, but you cannot hold on it as the absolute truth. We thought the atom is the smallest particle. This we thought through our senses, and it's not. Okay? So you move through the movie, you enjoy the movie very much, but you know that this movie doesn't reflect reality in its utmost. Not at all. There is much more beyond the five senses. So the five senses are part of your experience, but they cannot dictate your whole experience. Because then, if somebody is blind already, their reality in terms of nature is different. If they never see nature, their reality is very different than yours. They know how a tree feels. They don't know how it looks. So the whole reality is different. If somebody has no sense of a smell, it's very different. Now, some people wired very different. It's extreme, but there are cases that people actually eat food, and instead of tasting like you tasting, it's sweet, it's this, they taste shapes. Because this is how they're wired in the brain. It's wired, the taste wired into shapes. It's interesting. So if you see it in movies, they give them chicken. They said, how is the chicken? Very square. Very square. That's how he feels when he eats. It's square. And how is the soup? Really triangle. I like this triangle. Now, some of you on the edge to experience this as well, because the areas in the brain are very close. How many of you eating sometimes and you said it's a very sharp taste? Sharp is no taste. And you use sharp. Sharp is actually very kinesthetic. If in your brain it's wire on the edges and one neuron or one connection moving to the neighborhood that has to do with shapes, you will talk about very strong cheese. It's very sharp taste, even though there is nothing to do with sharpness. Now, if I'm not wired like that, and you say very sharp, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean sharp? Is it spicy? I'm asking. No, it's just very sharp, and I have to taste it to know what you mean that it's sharp. I don't have it. Sharp for me is a knife. Our cheese can be sharp. You see how our reality changing upon our senses. Now, if somebody deaf, it's a very different reality. They move into rhythms more, they feel vibration much more than you, because they don't hear. So don't cut off the 5 senses. Integrate them in your experience. It's a waste to cut it. And I'll tell you, I heard about practices now. They do it in Thailand, in all kind of places. People going and they closing themselves into a room, dark room, for 7 days or 2 weeks. Group of people in dark room, and they pay a lot of money for it, by the way. Lightness and enlightenment, it costs a lot of money. Darkness, apparently, much more. And I'm like, why you need to lock yourself for 1 week in a dark room? They have a whole philosophy. It's enhance this. But like, we see. We're creatures that see. It's not wasting a whole week of not seeing. Yeah? But that's what people do. But these people in this week has a very different experience than you have about nature and reality, because all they do is this. Where is the toilet? Where is the toilet? Okay. So we are not cutting off the senses, but we are not identified with what we experienced.